Welcome to this Agile deep dive on Scrum and its three pillars. Let's jump right in. It's all about transparency, inspection, and adaptation, right?
Absolutely. I'm really excited about diving into this framework. What makes Scrum so popular, even beyond software development?
Well, it's like Scrum is a super flexible framework that embraces change. It delivers usable increments frequently rather than being tied down by heavy
Yeah.
planning, and that's what sets it apart.
Right. It's a big shift from traditional rigid project management methods. It's all about learning on the go, isn't it?
Exactly. It's based on empirical process control. Basically, decisions are made based on what's observed in real time instead of long-term assumptions.
Yep. So it's like instead of planning everything up front, Scrum lets teams adjust as they learn more about the project.
Yeah. It's like, think of it as navigating a ship. You adjust your course based on current conditions, not just a pre-drawn map. Transparency is key because everyone needs to know what's actually happening, right?
Absolutely, and that transparency is maintained with tools like the product backlog and Scrum boards, which keep everyone on the same page.
Spot on. The idea is that every element of the process should be visible to those accountable for the outcome. It makes collaboration, trust, and clarity possible.
I love that. But let's dig a bit into the three pillars. So we have transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Can we break down each one a little bit?
Sure, let's start with transparency. Basically, it means that every aspect of the process is, well, openly visible. All work, all progress, no secrets. This visibility
Right.
is crucial because if no one knows the real state of the project, how can they adjust?
Exactly. It's like having a window into the process, and then inspection steps in, right?
Yeah, inspection is all about regularly checking progress. In Scrum, you've got built-in opportunities, the daily Scrum, the sprint review, and the retrospective, all designed to let the team inspect progress.
Absolutely. And by inspecting regularly, you can catch any issues before they become major problems. It's that constant feedback loop.
Yes, but here's something interesting. Inspection isn't just about spotting problems, it's about understanding how the process is working. Like, um, think of it as taking the pulse of the team and the product, ensuring everything's in sync.
Right. It's a systematic check in, much like how a coach would break down gameplay during halftime to adjust strategy.
Exactly. And that brings us to adaptation. After the inspection, the team then adapts. Maybe the process or plan needs tweaking, or the priorities shift. It's the reaction part of the cycle.
So it's like a constant spiral of learning and applying that learning in real time.
Yes, it's a cyclical process. Inspect, adapt, do it again. Without adaptation, all the transparency and inspection would be pointless.
True. But I wonder, isn't it sometimes challenging to balance the need for structure with the flexibility Scrum demands? I mean, some might say you need strict processes to ensure accountability.
That's a good point. And while Scrum provides the structure through defined roles, ceremonies, and artifacts, it intentionally avoids being rigid. It's less about dictating how work is done and more about offering a framework where teams can organically find their best
Right,
way.
I get that. So you're saying the rules aren't so much fixed instructions, but rather guidelines to ensure communication and improvement?
Exactly. It's like setting up the boundaries for a playground. Kids can run wild within the safe confines, adapting their games as they go. That's the spirit of Scrum.
Yeah, but doesn't that leave room for ambiguity, especially for teams new to Scrum?
I can see where you're coming from, but in practice, those very artifacts, like the product backlog, the definition of done, or even the visible Scrum board, reduce ambiguity. They act as a common language. The team doesn't need a manual for every detail because the framework already promotes
Indeed.
clear communication.
Hmm, that's interesting. It sounds almost like a system built on trust and continuous collaboration rather than top down directives.
Precisely, and that trust is built over time because of transparency and regular inspection. It's empowering teams to learn, own their work, and iterate.
So, if I understand correctly, Scrum empowers teams to deliver value faster and to adjust quickly to change, which is super relevant given today's ever-changing market demands.
Absolutely. Instead of waiting until the end of a long project cycle to see results, teams work in shorter sprints, deliver usable increments, and gather feedback. That way, they can course correct rapidly.
Yep, that makes total sense. And that feedback loop is critical to ensure the team isn't just moving forward blindly. It's all about continuous improvement, right?
Right on. And it's even like a scientific method: observe, hypothesize, test, and refine. Scrum puts that in the heart of how teams work.
I can see that. Sometimes I hear critics say, isn't it just basic common sense? How would you respond to that?
Good point. Some do argue that, but I think the beauty of Scrum is in its formalization of common sense through those three pillars. It makes what might seem obvious into actionable, repeatable practices. I mean, there's power in structuring what many consider natural tendencies to work well together.
Yeah, that's a solid viewpoint. I like that analogy. And it's clever how, by emphasizing transparency, you build a foundation for honest and open communication. Without that, any attempt at inspection or adaptation could be misled by hidden issues.
Exactly. And that's why the emphasis on transparency is so crucial. Without being upfront about progress or the lack thereof, inspection won't catch the right problems, and then adaptation would be off the mark. It's like trying to fix a leaky boat when you can't even see where the water is coming
Yep,
in.
I see what you mean. So, Scrum, with its foundations, really transforms how teams collaborate and deliver. And not just in software development, huh?
Right, these principles extend to numerous industries now. It's the underlying philosophy of embracing change, continuous improvement, and teamwork. You can apply it to marketing teams, design studios, really anywhere collaboration and adaptive planning are key.
That's really inspiring. I imagine, though, that adopting Scrum isn't a one-size-fits-all magic bullet. It might take time for teams to properly embed these pillars into their work culture.
Absolutely, it's not an overnight transformation. It demands a mindset shift from fixed planning to embracing uncertainty and learning continuously. And that takes time,
Right,
patience,
exactly.
and persistence.
And how do you see the roles and ceremonies playing into reinforcing these pillars?
Well, roles like the Scrum Master, Product Owner, and the development team each have their part to play. The ceremonies, the daily Scrum, sprint review, and retrospective are the vehicles that ensure regular inspection and adaptation. It's a structured rhythm that guides
I
the
like that
team.
analogy of rhythm. It's like a well-conducted orchestra. That's a great way to put it. And if one thinks about it, the framework itself doesn't dictate how you do the work, but it ensures that everyone is in sync and continuously aligned with the end goal.
Exactly. It's about creating a shared understanding of success. Everyone, stakeholders included, can see where the team stands relative to those goals because of the transparency and constant feedback.
Yep, absolutely. I really appreciate how Scrum empowers teams, not by rigid control, but by giving them both the freedom to innovate and the structure to stay on course.
Yes, it's that balance. A balance between flexibility and structure, between creative problem solving and disciplined process. And that, I think, is the
Nicely
real
said.
magic behind Scrum.
This has been a deep and engaging discussion. It's clear that by embracing transparency, inspection, and adaptation, teams can really transform their way of working and deliver more value.
Exactly. It's all a cycle of continuous improvement. Thanks for the great conversation. Always refreshing to break down these concepts that really drive modern teamwork.
Absolutely. Here's to more agile journeys ahead.